Keeping in. Okay, great. So, so we just finished the 9 Nights of the Goddess. That was finished on Sunday. So I wanted to utilize that last mantra, which I didn't write out like I usually do, but it's Om Hring, Hrinj, Dung, Dung, Durgaye Namaha. Om Hring Dung Durgaye Namaha. Okay, so this is the mantra for Durga, and she is the goddess who slays the buffalo demon at the last night. And the buffalo demon is really in the myth, it's like our own dark ignorance that is like so big. It's like a buffalo and strong. And so you can mute and follow me. I will do 9 times. And we're gonna do this with our hands in a mudra, which all of you know, called Anjali Mudra, where you take your 2 hands together and kind of line up the fingers and the thumbs. And then there's 2 ways to do this mudra. One of them I'm showing where you're actually, it's almost like you're holding a jewel inside your palms. So there's kind of like this space inside your palms. And the other way, more of the Hindu yogis tend to kind of press one palm into the other. And just look at your own palms, because this is a place where we can pervert, like our whole body can get kind of out of alignment. And we can also bring our body into alignment by really looking at our hand posture. And it's been kind of amazing to do these Zooms and to see myself because sometimes I'm really impressed at the deformity of my prayer pose. So it's good to check in with that. Take a deep inhale. Om Hring Dung Durgaye Namaha. 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 All right, and then rub your palms together. You guys probably heard Bella chanting. And then we're gonna do this first mudra. We're gonna do a lot with the hands today, and that is the hugging mudra. And you're just hugging the left hand to the right shoulder, the right hand to the left shoulder. And you can close your eyes and just kind of really feel how it feels to give yourself a hug. If you haven't done this in a while, it's quite a nice feeling. And kind of sensate your palms and how they're touching your skin and how that feels. And if you want more pressure, if you want less pressure, if you kind of want to move a little side to side like a hug, sometimes we do that. And so the word Marma that we've been working on for, this is the 3rd week, it means to, originally it meant to harm. And because they're very sensitive points, if we push too hard, or we could utilize them as a weapon, or as a place where we could hurt someone else. So when you do this hug Marma, you can do the other arm on top now. what we want to be doing, of course, it's a yoga practice, is we want to be learning how to use our hands in more and more healing ways. So the tendency is when we're not thinking, when we're distracted, when we're upset, that our hands are not only dexterous, they can do more harm than benefit. So yeah, so just take a look at your palms. We want to make sure that our hands are doing as much benefit in the world as possible. And the marma that we're going to work on today is called kurcha. And there's two kurcha, Kurcha, and there's two in the hands and there's two in the feet. And so one is called kurcha, and it is a marma that's on ligament. So ligament is this like coarse, thick tissue. Sometimes it's in a mound or mounded up. And it's also fascia. And fascia tissue is muscle, but it's also collagen. So by stimulating these marmas, we're really stimulating the whole muscular system. Mamsa vaha shrotas. Mamsa means muscle. And the pain that we might experience in the muscle tissue. And the kurcha, number one, is here at the base of your thumb. And this area is really, the whole area is called kurcha. This is the Mount of Venus, if you know palmistry. And so Mount of Venus is very, to show if there is good sex energy in your life and reproductive energy. So these marmas have to do with that. But that's not all they're about. So if you kind of press in the belly of the base of your thumb, so it's kind of like, there's the index finger, there's the thumb, it's kind of just in there. And it might be a little tender. And I tend to circle clockwise. There are cases where you want to circle counterclockwise, but those are less indicated. Those are for like hyperinflammation. So if you had a lot of inflammation, if you had like arthritis with a lot of inflammation, you might want to do some counterclockwise. So you can spend some time on both of these in each hand. When we're using our skin and we're touching our skin, we're affecting the wind in our body, which in Sanskrit we call it prana. And so this is a main pranic point. And that is the reason why this is very good for immunity, because it's going to help circulate our prana. And prana, we translate it as life energy. So we think of it as breath. And this marma point also stimulates our lung capacity. So there's an energy in our lungs called avalambaka kapha. And that is like the mucous membranes of the lungs. And so if we have pulmonary congestion or just a lot of lung debris, this is very good this marma is very good. Let's keep pressing this. This is also a lot about the heart center. And this mudra, right? So we do a lot of mudras with our hands, especially in advanced practices. We touch others with our hands. We touch ourselves. We make food with our hands. We eat food with our hands. So the hands are so important and powerful. And so even just doing this marma point, like at the beginning of the day, is going to be very good to get your hands in the right kind of cosmic position. So it's also working on mental stress, this marma point, especially the emotions of mental stress, like negative emotions. So anger, grief, uh, not that we want to suppress grief. There's definitely a time for grief, and there's a lot of things to have grief about lately, but we don't want it to stick. And so, again, the idea of things circulating through us is this Marma point. This is, again, good for our reproductive system. And so, when we enhance prana, things slip off us. So we have something that's really stuck in our mind or stuck in our body. This is a good point. And then this point is also located on our feet. So, excuse me for showing you my slightly dirty feet, but here's my big toe, which is the ether element. When we think of the Mahabhutas in Ayurveda, this is ether, this is air, this is fire, this is water, this is earth. So we're stimulating the ether element, and that is the base. Again, just kind of like the base of the thumb, this is the base of the big toe. And I am, again, if there was a clock on my toe, I would be massaging in a clockwise direction. So I hope you guys are doing this with me. This is the, kind of part where I talk a lot and we poke ourselves. And we try to get good at poking ourselves. And you really can't do these too much. One thing that it said, you can change feet, is that it's good to use oil sometimes. Like I wouldn't want to use oil at the beginning of the day if I've already taken a shower because I'm going to get things oily, but it might be really good to do before bed. So this is the flow point here. And in the feet, it really affects the same thing as in the thumbs. And when we think of our asana practice, we are doing a lot of things on our feet and our hands. So it's kind of a really good point to get more sensitive about how we place our hands and how we place our feet in the practice. And like I'm studying with an Iyengar teacher right now, and we did this whole class on trying to get this part of our toe to press into the earth. So it's not unrealistic to think of these points and think of them within the asana paradigm. Okay, then there's another marma called kurcha, same word, kurcha, which just means ligament, and it's kurcha shira. So shira means like shirshasana, means headstand. So it is at the end of the ulnar bone and nerve and before the bone of the wrist. So this is, all these points are great for arthritis, pain in the hands. This point is very good for the joint lubrication. So that is called a special word, shleshak kapha. So shleshak, it sounds like lubrication. It sounds like a lubricating substance. So right here, if we're feeling like dried out, this is on both hands a really good marma to touch. And again, you could do it with some medicated oil if you have a lot of pain in your body. There's a great oil called Maha Narayana oil. And that is super for pain. And so say if you have pain, but you can't do your whole body, you could do this marma here. This is also good for low back pain and tired legs. And it's also good for the pitta dosha that's in our eyes. So I don't know about you, but looking at the screen a lot every day has definitely challenged my eyes. So all four of these marma points are good for the eyes. And then the last one is also called kurcha shira, And it is, so here's my heel bone. It's pretty big. It's right at the front top of that heel bone, right in the center. And I kind of, you want to have maybe a relaxed foot when you're massaging this. So if I noticed that when I was doing it and showing everybody, it was a little bit different than if you're holding your foot in your lap and you're just letting your foot really relax and then press. So everybody saw, right? I have it kind of a blue circle spiral there. And you want to shift and do the other one. Now, if you're working on your eyes and you're like, that is me, I need to work on my eyes, there's an essential oil called sandalwood oil. Smells excellent. And you could mix a little bit of the essential oil with coconut. So coconut is excellent for the eyes, sandalwood is great for the eyes. So you could kind of create a little medicine cabinet with the oil, essential oil, and the Marma point, and then doing it every day. Most of these things are kind of subtle. So the idea of just doing it once in a class like this and then kind of forgetting it is not going to be to the best of our capabilities. Okay, so also all these points, especially this last one that we worked on here, is good for the digestive fire. And so we have a lot of things to digest right now, whether it's the world situation, the election, COVID, how to be safe, how to take care of our families. It's a good time for self-care and for touching yourself kindly. So we're gonna start the asana practice now. So I just want you to kind of be really sensitive about what you're doing with your hands and your feet. And we are going to take a lot of hand positions that you'll recognize that we have done in asana class and just kind of remind ourselves, because really we're using our hands and feet all the time in asana class. So it's not like there's really going to be a super specific sequence, but you'll see that I have tried to create something that's really going to work. So this is a wrist roll, and this is, again, really good if you are a healer and you use your hands a lot, or you want to be like more healing hands. And then we're going to palm. This is called palming, where you create a lot of heat in your hands, and then you place them on your eyes and just breathing into that area. And again, this would be something you could do if you're on the screen a lot and you need to take a break. You could go outside and do like 3 rounds of this palming. Once your hands, eyes kind of cool down, you can rub your palms together again and do it one more time. And then we're going to come up to stand. And we're going to stand in Tadasana. And we're going to look down at our feet, and we're going to try to find where that Marma, Kurcha in the feet are, both the front and the back. And then we're going to take our hands into Anjali Mudra. And center yourself. And just kind of open your eyes and look at your palms, how they were. And then see if you can kind of rebalance the palms, breathing in and breathing out. And then interlace the hands and bring the index fingers into the backs of Kurcha on the thumbs. Bring the thumbs together and press forward. So you're pressing your palms forward, and then press the palms up to the sky. And then inhale, stretch up tall and lean over to the right. So I'm mirroring you. Breathing in, breathing out. Feel that left side. Now press down into your left foot and those two marmas in the base of the big toe and the beginning of the heel bone. Inhale, come up, and exhale to the left. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And then inhale, come up. And we're gonna do a little sun salutation. Release your arms and reach them next to your ears. Lift your chest towards the sky. Inhale. Exhale. Bend the knees. Come forward. Take your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers and come into Uttanasana. Now I can feel I'm more on my heels, especially the back of my heels. Even if you have to bend your knees, try to get on the front of the heels. See if you can press down at the base of the big toes and see how that shifts your position. And then release your arms down, place your palms next to your feet. Inhale, take the right leg back. And so we're just in this lunge pose that we're often in, and to see if you can stretch underneath the big toes of both feet, especially that back foot because you're on the ball of the foot. And I'm kind of rocking back and forward. So I'm massaging that under toe of my right big toe. And then you're gonna press the palms and take both legs back and come into plank pose. And lift the chin slightly, roll the shoulders back, stretch the chest forward and open, breathing in. And again, stretch those big toe kurchas, and then bring the knees down and point the toes. And bring the hips forward as you bend your elbows a little bit. Come into upward facing dog. Now there's a lot of weight in upward facing dog on your hands. See if you can notice that Mount of Venus, Kurcha, is pressing down into the earth. Exhale, downward facing dog. Then pedal in downward facing dog. So you're stretching the feet long, and that's going to stretch the Kurcha Shira near the back of the heel, and then you're stretching underneath the base of the big toe, and then both heels down. And then bring the right foot forward. So you're in lunge, and now your right foot is right underneath your face. Look at your right foot, see if you can stretch that big toe. This is great for bunions. Take your left foot forward, Uttanasana. Stretch the legs, let the head hang down. Again, I feel like I'm more in my heels. So even if you have to walk the hands forward, even if you have to bend the knees, see if you can get the weight equalized between the balls of the foot and the heels. And then inhale, come up. And exhale, bring the hands down and really look at your Anjali Mudra. Other side, so I'm going to bring interlace the fingers and press the palms forward. Inhale the arms up. Exhale over to the left. Pushing the right foot down, try to feel the base of the right heel joint. Inhale, come up. Exhale over to the right. So it's so easy to lose the sensation of our feet. So really keep that the feet are really our number one foundation with the earth. Inhale, come up. Lift the arm, release the hands and reach back with the arms next to the ears. Lifting, lifting, lifting up. Bend the knees, come forward. Interlace the hands. If you can, remember the opposite hand, opposite thumb in front, and fold forward. Again, I immediately went into my heels. So see if you can catch yourself, come forward, Try to stretch the base of the big toe down. And then release the hands, bend the knees, take the left leg back. We're just gonna do the opposite side. Stretch through that heel. Stretch through the base of the left big toe. Stretch through the heel. Press both palms. Come into plank pose. And in plank, see if you can feel, of course, that big toe stretch. Letting the chest come up, bending the knees, pointing the toes. And then we're gonna take the hips and take the tailbone and slide forward, bending the elbows just a little bit for upward facing dog. See if you can stretch your 10 toenails onto the floor. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward. Exhale, right foot forward. Inhale, see if you can feel those 2 points on the feet as you come up. And exhale, hands in Anjali Mudra. Now I'm just gonna turn so you can see me, but you're gonna push your left palm into your right palm. And you're gonna turn to your right. And you're gonna really let that right hand push. So you're twisting that right palm, pushing into the left elbow is going back, and you're looking over your right shoulder. And then inhale, come center, and then go to the left. So your right hand is pushing more into your left hand, and you're turning your gaze around to the left. And then inhale, come back center. Now hook thumbs. So a lot of times people like to hook their thumbs. Lift up, arch back, inhale. And then exhale, come center, stretch those points of the feet, toes down, and release the hands to reverse Anjali Mudra. And with the reverse Anjali Mudra, you're going to take the tailbone down and try to feel the front of the heel bones. And inhale, lift the chest up to the sky. Exhale, release the hands, lift the head, and fold down. Inhale, this time you're going to take your left foot back to lunge and come up to this kind of tripod fingertip mudra. So a lot of people do this to get a little bit more height. You can bring your left knee down, point your left foot. While your foot is pointed, see if you can stretch the toenails of your left foot all onto the earth. So that's going to start to stretch and change your foot. Now your fingertips are in this kind of tripod TP action. And then take the palms down, tuck the back toes under, and bring the back foot down into warrior one position. So the right knee keeps bended, the left outer leg, outer heel is pressing into the earth as you rise up, and take the arms over the head into Anjali Mudra. Now, using your right foot, see if you can push your outer left heel into the earth more strongly. And then inhale into warrior two. Arms go out. Now try to kind of feel where the kurcha is in the thumb, in the base of the big toes. You're going to do exalted warrior. So your left palm will face up. Your right palm will start to reach over your right ear towards that left palm. And then inhale, come up to stand, both legs straight. And exhale, come into Utthita Trikonasana, as we do in the Ashtanga system, where you're going to grab that right big toe. Use your left arm, feel that root of the left thumb pull you up and come into you. And look over your right hand and kind of just see if there's any deformities in the hand and the fingers. Circle down and come into downward facing dog. Inhale, come into plank pose. Now we're going to do chaturanga, which we do in the Ashtanga, and kind of see the base of your thumbs. Keep those pressing as you hover off the earth. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathing in, stretch the arms, let the head hang. And then you're going to pedal your way forward into Uttanasana. So again, we're just kind of utilizing as much as we can the movement in our feet. Then when you get into Uttanasana, inhale, rise up. And exhale, land the hands at Anjali Mudra at your chest. And then you're going to go to the left. So you're going to push your right hand into your left hand and turn around your gaze, your chin to the left. Inhale, center. And then turn by pushing your left palm into your right. Right elbow will go back. Turn your chin, look back. And then come center. And then hook thumbs. Reach the arms up. And keep a good squeeze in your glutes. Try to feel that the end of the heel is down, but also that Kurchashira, the beginning of the heel bone, is pressing as you reach back. And then come here, center, and reverse to reverse Anjali Mudra. And see if even though you can't see your mudra, you're trying to create symmetry in your fingers. Take a deep inhale and exhale, fold forward, releasing the hands. Inhale, right leg back. Come up to the TP with your fingertips, and then let the right knee come down and point the right toes and see if you can spread the right toes so that your toenails are all able to press into the earth. And then palms press, right toes tuck under. Right leg gets ready for Virabhadrasana 1. And rising up. And yes, this is Anjali Mudra over the head. Sometimes this one at the heart is called Namaskar. And this one over the head is Anjali. I don't think that there's a hard, fast rule because I've heard both of them. But reaching the arms over the head. Really feel those points in your feet. See if your feet can get longer and wider by pressing those points. And then we're going to come into Warrior 2 with an inhale. And looking over your hands, I like to check out both of them because I often have like my wrist is going one way, my fingers are going the other way. And then turn the palms to face up. Exalted Warrior. Breathing in. See if again the bones of the feet can help you retain and go deeper into the pose without too much unnecessary effort. Inhale, come up to standing. And exhale, go out to the left. Catching that left big toe. So all those toe locks we do in Ashtanga are actually stimulating two marmas. There's the Kircha, but there's also one at the nail bed on the front of the nail. So that's where my thumb presses. Inhale, come on up. Bend the left knee into Warrior 2. Circle the arms down. Take the leg back. We're going to come into plank. Again, check out those base of our thumbs. And exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Now often when I come into upward facing dog, I just point my toes. See if you can stretch your toenails to the floor. So you're pointing your feet, but your toenails are kind of fanning. And exhale, downward facing dog. And then pedal your feet forward. And bring the big toes together. And again, if you have bunions, just grab them every once in a while. Grab those big toes. Drop your head. Inhale, come on up. Reach your arms up. And exhale, Anjali Mudra at your heart. Now this next one, if you feel a little off balance, you might want to have something to help you balance on, like a chair, or stand next to the couch, or stand next to the wall. We're gonna do Anjali Mudra, and we're gonna elevate our heels as high as we can. Breathing in.
The same question. In horse racing, it just happened recently, right? At the end of what's that race called?
Now this is where you might need the chair. I'm going to try it without the chair, but what we're going to do is keep the heels high, and we're going to try to come down so that we're sitting on our heels.
Isn't it more compassionate to
and now I did it, but my heels kind of dropped a little bit. So grab onto something if you're close by and lift the heels as high as you can. So it's a pretty different pose. Now use your abdominals so that you're not so stuck on whatever you're holding to. And see if you can release the chair and balance.
Would you like your choice about how to die taken away from you? Put in the hands of someone else.
And then release, come into Vajrasana. So Vajrasana is the pose of the thunderbolt. And this is you're sitting on your shins. Now, not everybody can do this because some people have pain in their knees. So if that's the case, you can. This is my teacher, David Light. He's talking about how they shoot horse races. Horses if the horse breaks its leg. So if you have some pain in the knees, you can pull the blanket close to the knee joint, and that kind of gives a lot more opening, and we're definitely stimulating some marmas in the back of the legs. I mean, you can be sure every single asana is stimulating marmas because there's 108 marmas all over the body. So you can be sure that you're getting good circulation. Okay, so we're really stretching the tops of the feet now, and I wanted to show you another hand mudra that's a little different. Now I don't need that, so I'm gonna leave it out. So we got Anjali Mudra. So from Anjali, you take your pinky fingers, your fourth fingers, your middle fingers, and then you have this kind of TP thing. And you, it's hard to do slow. Okay, so then you bring your index finger forward, and then your palms are coming to face you, and then your fingers go up, and then you land in what's called Chin Mudra. So Chin Mudra, sometimes they talk about it where the thumb and the index finger, this is actually Jnana Mudra. And then Chin Mudra, you bring that index finger all the way down to voila, Kurcha, right? It's almost pointing into Kurcha. It's kind of hard, but it is with your hands like this, but if you put your hands now down on your lap, so your palms are facing up in Chin Mudra, Breathing in and breathing out. So the mudras are specifically to create a new connection between our body, our mind, and our consciousness. So just holding this mudra with Vajrasana, thunderbolt pose, see if you can just feel how these new neural connections might be being created and how you can be very aware of the moment. Try not to be anywhere else. Try not to think about dinner or chocolate cake or ice skating or whatever. Be here now. Feel body, mind, consciousness. Okay, now you can release. I'm going to show you a kind of a challenging virasana, but if you have enough prop, it shouldn't be. So virasana, I'll just show you the plain pose, is where we bring our knees together, feet apart, and we try to sit down in between, sorry, you can't see me, in between our feet. Okay, so what we're going to try to do is we're going to try a variety of this. So you'll bring yourself on to your toes and stretch your toes. And then bring your block. And it can be on any height. So I have my block on my medium height. So my toes are tucked. My knees are down. If this isn't enough, you can bring your block all the way up. For me, this is too high. So I'm going to bring my block down. Okay, good. Now, this is another thing we do a lot in yoga asanas. We catch a wrist. So my right hand is going to catch my left, and my right index finger is going to press into that Kurcha Shira. And then I'm going to reach sideways. And your thumb can actually press into the base of the opposite. The right thumb can press into the base of the left thumb. And then inhale, come up, release. And then the left hand, the index finger is going to put right there at Kurcha Shira. And the thumb can go at the base of Kurcha and go over to your left. And really pull on that wrist joint. Now I have super flexible toes, so don't worry if you had to come out of this toe stretch thing. Release, let's all come out of that toe stretch. And now we're gonna do plank with our feet pointed. This is not terribly easy, it takes a lot of core. So try one leg at a time, press the palms down. And then you can either change legs by bending one knee, stretching the other leg. And then see if you can take both feet and point the toes. And see if you can create a straight line. Great, bend the knees. And now forearms. So we're going to do the same forearm plank. So you're going to put your elbows down, look at your fingers, stretch the base of the thumbs, and one foot back, both feet back. And this time your toes are tucked under. So you're not in that toe pointed position. Breathing in, breathing out. So my shoulders are right over my elbows. My head is stretching forward. Now, walk, pedal forward, and open your feet as wide as your hips, and come into forearm downward facing dog. Now, a lot of times you can see I'm peeling the tips of my fingers off the floor. So this is one reaction. And another one is that the base of the index finger and the base of the thumb come up. So really be aware of what your palms are doing, what your fingertips are doing. And walk in as far as you can comfortably. We're going to do a little forearm prep. So bring your feet together. Take one foot up to the sky. And lean forward so that your shoulders are right over your elbows. And you're going to kind of look at that floor as if you're sussing out, jumping up. But we're not going to today. Change legs. Now, with the foot that's in the air, really stretch the base of the big toe joint up. And then come down, and everybody. This is not the music I picked out for today. I don't know what's happening. Breathing in, resting in child's pose. Okay, so we're resting in child's pose or balasana, and just again, be aware of your feet and your hands. Let's actually reach the arms forward. Okay, and then come on up to sit again in, you can have your knees open, you can have your knees together in Vajrasana, and you're sitting up straight. And we're gonna just stretch our hands a little bit. So if this is too tough, like some people, this just won't happen. I'm turning my fingers back towards my hips and my wrists forward. No problem, it's a lot easier if you just open your knees a little bit and put the hands on the floor like that. So this is stretching the wrist and definitely stretching this Marma here, Korchashira. Okay, and I've done these different hand positions in arm balances, and that's really interesting and challenging. Now take kind of like, so that your hands are like turkey feathers, so that your fingers are all facing outward. Your thumbs are kind of forward, and you're trying to stretch your fingers in line with your knuckles. So I can actually stretch my fingers wider than my knuckle joints, where my finger joins with my palm, but I don't really want to do that. So see if you can look at your hands and connect the dots so that where the base of the finger is in line with the tip of the finger. Okay, and that just feels so much better than when I hyper extend my fingers. Of course, I'm super flexible, so what could be happening if you're not flexible is like when I teach my mom, I have to really pull on her fingers because she's got a lot of arthritis in her fingers, and I have to pull them out and pull them down to the floor. So try to do that for yourself. And then we are going to relax for a second, come up, circle your wrists. And then we're gonna take the pose we took last week that's so good for your navel, for your nabi. We're gonna try Mayurasana again, peacock pose. But of course, this is super powerful for these marmas that we've been working on. So I'm gonna take my fingers towards my groins, and I'm gonna open my wrists. For me, it's a little easier with my wrists open about 2 inches. Then I'm gonna use my core. I'm gonna roll my belly back, bend my elbows, lean forward. So that one I cannot talk while I do it. So if you came out of it, take a moment, rest. It's so powerful. You just feel the prana, the energy in your belly, everything circulating, and it's not easy. So that's why we're going to try it one more time. Now, I just noticed that when I did it, I lifted the index finger joint way off the floor. So try to notice that. Doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to put it down, but I really want to know where my parts and my bits are. And that's great for my life because I really want to know if I'm angry at somebody and I'm holding it back, or if I'm this, or if I'm that. Like knowing what our mind is doing. So now we got to know what our index finger joint is doing. So one more time. Now, some people have done peacock pose with their fingers facing forward. So this is like, you cannot do it at all. Try it with your fingers facing forward. Okay, exhale. I'm going to use my core. I'm going to kind of tuck my belly back. Inhale, come forward. Woo. Wonderful. They say if you can do that pose for a minute, you will be able to digest poison. I know everybody wants to digest poison. Okay, come into downward facing dog, and we're going to not stay there too long. We're going to come into Baddha Konasana. So we can imagine this is our Sunday Ashtanga class, or however often you ladies practice. And try to find that strength of the jump through. Bend the knees, inhale, jump through. And then we will try Baddha Konasana. So the knees are open, and I'm going to catch hold of my feet. So this is sometimes called cobbler's pose as a translation, and it's because this is in India, cobblers sit and they put the shoe in between their own feet, and then they start to work on the shoe. So we're working on our feet. So you're going to first just take your thumbs at the base of all the metatarsals, so way down here. And you're going to try to open that to face you. And in some books, this point underneath that base has been called kurcha. Most that I have, and the research that I did, have kurcha here at the base of the big toe. Sometimes it's down here. So try to manipulate both and open them up. And then keep your hands wherever, if you like it right at the base of the toes, or if you like it at the base of the metatarsals, keep your hands there as you fold forward, and take some nice, beautiful internal breaths. Inhaling, coming on up, and then take hold of your right knee. So we don't want to disturb our groins. So we're going to pick our right knee up and stretch our right leg forward, and then grab hold of that left knee, stretch the left leg forward. And yes, we're going to use yoga toe lock. So the first two fingers slide in there, and they catch right underneath that base of the big toe, and then right on top. And then the thumbs will press into the nail bed of the big toenail. And then exhale, elbows out to the side. Paschimottanasana. So without looking at your feet, see if you can feel your feet, and see if you can feel the asymmetry, which is most of us have asymmetry, and that's why we all want to practice yoga, because it feels so good to get a little bit more balanced. So see if you can notice without looking at your feet if you do have asymmetry, where one toe is going one direction, the other foot on that toe is going another direction. And then look at your feet and see if you were right, if you guessed right. And again, try to stretch forward through both of the base of the big toes. I'm kind of pushing open, and also here at the other point at the base. I guess this is not the base of the heel, this is the beginning of the heel. And then inhale, come on up. And we're gonna bend our right knee. And we're gonna cradle our right leg. So this is often done in vinyasa classes where we're putting that heel into our elbow and we're putting the knee into the other elbow, and then we can hold on. I'm gonna hold on to my right wrist and I'm gonna try to push into that outer point and then kind of rock my leg and push the origin of my heel bone, that's what we'll call Korchashira on the foot, origin of the heel bone into the arm bone and kind of rock back and forth. And then release and change legs. So this goes here, and then we want to make sure we grab the other wrist. So don't worry if you can't catch your hands. You can do the pose like this. It doesn't work the same with the marmas, but you know, it's all a work in progress. We always have to remember that. Now the extended leg, which should be your right leg, if you did that with me, see if you can check out your right foot and really stretch through the bones of your right foot and feel how that extends that right leg, and it just makes the pose work better, feel better. Okay, and then release. Okay, this pose you might never have done before. This again is a toe balance. And I'm gonna start to bring my feet forward, close to me. And my toes are going to be on the floor. And I'm gonna walk forward. And I'm gonna, again, this is a little bit challenging on the knees. I'm gonna try to bring the soles of my feet towards each other. And my knees are going out to the side. And then I'm gonna see if I can balance with my hands in Anjali Mudra. So Anjali Mudra is coming into our center, coming into our heart, and bringing the right side of the brain and the left hemisphere of the brain towards the center. So Anjali is a very centering mudra and drawing us down into our heart, or up into the heart, whichever, you know, like if you're a real mental person, a real thinker, it would be down into the heart. If you're more of a mover, it would be up into the heart. A little bit challenging, right, Nancy? Okay, everyone. Now climb down, bring your hands to the floor and see if you can release. And we're going to come up into headstand. So the point of headstand today is going to be to see if you can stretch up through that stretched toe and open that area right there at that Korcha Marma. So go ahead and interlace your fingers. Bring the very top of your head. Now, if you're not doing the whole headstand, or if you want to do it against the wall, whatever, be careful. Don't throw yourself up there. So just coming up, you can kind of, even here, if you're not coming all the way up, you can just stretch that big toe joint. And then either lift up one leg, two legs, bend the knees. And so once I get up, I'm not going to worry about my toes. I'm going to worry about my balance. And I just want to make sure that I'm not going to fall. And I want you not to fall. And then once I feel like I pretty much have my balance, I'm going to stretch the base of the big toes up into the sky. Breathing in and breathing out. So I'm kind of squeezing my glutes while I'm up, stretching the tops of my thighs upward, stretching the ball joint of my big toes upward, stretching the other 8 toes out to the side, stretching my inner heels towards each other, and the head of the heel up as well. Take a couple more breaths. And then slowly come on down. And you're gonna rest again in child's pose. Or, if child's pose doesn't work on your knee, you can just rest lying flat out like so. If your knee joint's not so happy. And then everybody, let's come out and come up into Cobra pose. And once you come into Cobra pose, just without looking at your palms, try to feel that whole mount of Venus. The base of the thumb joint is stretching down into the earth. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, roll the side chest forward, and exhale, bend knees, tuck toes, downward facing dog. And then I'm just gonna do the opposite leg because I don't wanna call it out wrong. Bring your right foot forward. I'm now doing the opposite. And you're gonna bring your right foot a little out to the side. And I'm gonna take both hands on the inseam of my right foot. And then I'm going to kind of walk a little forward and stretch the top of your left thigh. Okay, now bend the left knee. And the first time I did this, I got a big cramp because I don't often do this pose. And so if you get a cramp, that's good. My teacher always says if you get a cramp, it's good because you have not engaged in that pose much. And reach back and catch your ankle. And so the hand that's supporting you, which is your left, and your right foot, see if you can find those 4 points without looking at your hand, without looking at your foot. And stretch them. Well, you won't be able to stretch the outer wrist into the floor, but you'll be able to stretch the other 3 down into the earth. Great, and then release. Bring the hands back, walk the right foot back to the center, press the palms, take the right leg back to the left leg, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And wow, I feel really imbalanced because we only did one side. I feel like this is a powerful pose. And so other left foot forward. And then walk the left foot out to the side, walk the hands over to the right. So there's kind of a distance. Bend the right knee, reach back with the left hand, catch the ankle. And so now instead of like focusing on the top of the thigh or focusing on the shoulders, I just want you to focus on those 3 points. The base of the right thumb, the base of the left big toe, the head of the left heel joint. And see if you can feel they're equally stretching, opening into the earth. I really like that. Okay, and then release and push back, downward facing dog. And again, without looking at your hands, see if you can feel the base of the thumb and all the fingers elegantly stretching from their own joint. Let the head hang, and we're going to jump through to sit. Inhale. Okay, so you can either take lotus pose or sukhasana. So Sukhasana is where you just cross right at your shin where your calf muscle meets your Achilles tendon. So it's kind of a high cross. If you're comfortable in lotus, you can take full lotus. Okay, and then we're gonna take Anjali Mudra. And you're gonna look, and you're gonna take that little circle that I showed you, where your pinkies, your fourth finger, your middle finger, and so you're left with your index finger and your thumb still touching. You're gonna turn that down, you're gonna turn it up, and you're gonna end with Chin Mudra, where your index finger is pressing into the base of your thumb. And then you're going to take Padmasana or Sukhasana with your Ujjayi breath. And you're going to take your chin lock. So your shoulders are rolled down. Back of the throat is slightly closed. Just like the second to last pose we do in the first series. And I just want you to notice the ability, the depth of your breath compared to when you finish your Ashtanga practice. Okay, and then one more time, palming, bring your hands together, rub, create heat, and palm your eyes. And then rub, palms, create heat. And this time you're gonna palm your heart. And then one more time, palm. And then this time we're going to finish with the hugging mudra. So you're going to reach around, catch the opposite. And actually I forgot, but this one you can place your chin lock as well. So you're going to take your chin down, lift your chest up. And you can go the opposite arm on top. And then just let your arms fall down by your sides, by your thighs with your palms up, but no mudra, just feeling the energy of your palms. And then stretch your legs out. And again, try to feel the energy of both palms and the soles of the feet. And then if you need a pillow, we're going to take pose of the corpse. And what I like to do in the corpse pose is I like to lift my head, maybe with my hands interlaced behind my neck so it's not difficult. And just check out how far each leg is coming away from my center line. And is my center line from my pubic bone to my navel, to my sternum, to my chin, all in one line? And if it's not, correct it. And then taking the head down and taking the right hand underneath the left shoulder and pull that left shoulder down to release that left arm out. Unfortunately, we have another shoulder, so we're gonna have to pick that left hand up and pull on your right shoulder blade and pull that shoulder blade down. And try to get both shoulder blades down, and so that your heart will be like a beautiful fan, like opening up. maybe made of some kind of delicate crepe fabric. And it's just opening up, or like a clam. You're breathing in and breathing out. When I think of Venus, I actually think of that famous Michelangelo painting. I think it's Michelangelo, of Venus on the half shell. So you can imagine maybe your chest is like that, that there's this incredible goddess coming out of your chest. And then we can go into our palms and try to feel that same incredible goddess energy coming out of our palms. And then the soles of the feet. Breathing in, breathing out, notice how your body feels. Bring your palms to lie on your torso, your chest, wherever it feels most comfortable. So we kind of always have a question in here. The first week, the question was, what in your life gives you a sense of strength and immunity? Last week, let's see, what was our question? I forgot last week's question, but anyways, this week's question is more like an observation. Like, try to at least once during the next week, once a day, think about these points on your hands and on your feet, but on our hands is so palatable. Like, what do I want to do with my hands? And what kind of energy do I want to promote with my hands towards self and towards others? And then just, every once in a while, just notice while you're cooking or while you're walking your dogs or while you're talking to your partner, what your hands are doing, how they feel. Okay, so coming all the way up, and we'll dedicate our practice, bringing our hands into, one more time, Anjali Mudra. And I'm just gonna look down again and make sure that there is a sense of equality and symmetry. Loka samasta Sukino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste.